Thanks for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, Waters Mennonite Church, for supporting my journey as a climate crusader since my very beginnings in 2008. Dave was there when I gave my very first climate reality presentation in April of 2008, and you've always been here with me, so thank you. I'm still processing the hymns and the scriptures, so thank you. And I got chills just even saying it. It was perfect. Thank you for the selection. I chose not to have slides today, and instead we've given a handout. Just so you can read along. It helps you pay attention. Our attentions are harder to keep hold of, but I think if we read along together, it will be more meaningful. I've titled what I'm saying today, Being a Good Ancestor. November 20th was the International Day of the Child, a day that calls us to reflect on why we work for a better world and challenges us to be more like children in our approach, curious, hopeful, and determined. Climate activism is not about immediate rewards. It's ultimately about being a good ancestor. I began this work in earnest in 2007 when I was pregnant with my daughter, Sophia, holding her future in my heart as I build local, national, and international networks and lobby for a world she could thrive in. Every step since then has been for her and for all of our children. When I heard my own minister's liturgy on Psalm 22, it resonated deeply with me. Psalm 22 opens with a haunting cry, my God, why have you forsaken me?" These words mirror the grief we feel witnessing the devastation of climate inaction, ecological destruction, and especially the suffering of vulnerable communities. This year, Canada faced an unprecedented $7.7 billion in insurable climate damages, making it our most expensive year in history. Here in Ontario, we see the ongoing resistance to meaningful solutions. My daughter, Sophia, alongside 6 other brave youth, have given up much of her childhood to fight for a livable future. As a mother, I feel torn watching her sacrifice, but it is what she feels called to do. I've always assured her that she can step back whenever she needs to, and through it all, we have been sustained in our strength by our community, Sudbury. I want you to know that. It's meant the world to us. Okay, I'll sound out the acronyms. Yesterday at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Conference of the Parties, the 29th one in Baku, Azerbaijan, also known as COP, it concluded. I've been to 7 of them. I didn't go this year. The COP process is broken. Polluters must be removed. The financial commitments made to our friends in the global south are woefully inadequate. A global treaty to phase out fossil fuels is what is needed. My heart truly breaks for all my colleagues on the front lines of this fossil fuel crisis, especially my colleagues in Haiti, Bangladesh, Pakistan, South Sudan, and many Indigenous nations here in Canada. Yet, Psalm 22 does not end in despair. It transitions to hope. You are the one Israel praises. In your ancestors put their trust. We too can draw from past victories and the persistent efforts of communities that have stood for justice. 15 years ago, we gathered on Sudbury's Bridge of Nations during the Copenhagen COP, where the world was on track for a catastrophic 7.7 degree warming. Today, we're still on track towards a 2.75 warming. It's a marked improvement, though we're still far from safe. Many nations now need urgent support to adopt and mitigate to the impacts of this global heating. The psalm culminates in restoration, for future generations will be told about the Lord. They will proclaim his righteousness to people yet unborn. This vision drives us. Like the psalmist, we cry out, but we also act with faith that the world can be transformed. Yes, the challenges are immense. As journalist George Mornby has pointed out, the fossil fuel industry spends $1,000 misleading the public for every dollar we spend. But history shows us that unscrupulous powers can be held accountable. When the masses awaken to the truth, change becomes inevitable. So what can we do? Seek accountable news sources, avoid misinformation, especially on platforms manipulated by the unaccountable billionaires, such as on Facebook and Twitter. Join movements committed to systemic solutions. Together we are stronger than when we're alone. And I have several paper petitions at the back and a digital petition for you to consider signing today. And you can just scan that QR code. Demand accountability from political leaders and call out their misinformation about climate action. I won't say it. Most importantly, refuse to give up. Persist in the face of resistance. Together, we can be good ancestors. Psalm 22 also reminds us to be human. As emotional beings, because that's what we are. We think we're thinking human beings. We think we're spiritual beings. We try desperately to be that, but at our very core, we're emotional beings. We must examine and adjust our thinking patterns. Be careful not to fall into the trap of certainty. Nothing is certain. Certainty can lead us to fatalism, cynicism, and doomerism. Be like a child. Doubt, question, and remain curious and playful. In the space between certainty and doubt is where faith is found. Faith calls us to cry out when injustice prevails, trust in the possibility of redemption, and labor for the restoration for all creation. Let us unite with steadfast faith, knowing our efforts are not in vain. Together we work for a future where all children, born and yet to be born, can thrive. Let this be our act of faith, our prayer, and our commitment to be good ancestors. Thank you.